What's up, world, and welcome back to the Global Frequency. I am your host, Nefarious.
And I'm Frequency Girl.
And tonight we are pleased to welcome Hojo from South River Studios, here to tell us all about his creator-owned comic book crowdfunding campaign, The Mythicals, now live on Indiegogo. What's up, Hojo?
What's going on, man? What's going on?
So we've been meaning to get you on here for a while, and today is finally the day, and we're here to talk about your book. But first, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself? Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Right here on the East Coast, like Virginia, born and raised. Never really left here except to travel a little bit to see bands and stuff like that. And joined the military, left and came back.
What kind of comics did you read growing up in Virginia?
I mean, I used to like the Marvel, like the What If stuff, and I was a huge Hulk fan. That's probably what I have the most of.
Yeah, I loved Hulk too.
Like X Factor, even the Simonson X Factor, as well as the Peter David X Factor. I'm a big Peter David fan.
Really? Okay. Well, I mean, why? Because I hear a lot about the Simonson, more than I do about the David. Was there a particular element of the plot or characters
just
introduced?
It wasn't really the plot. It was just them sitting around, the way they talked to each other, interacted, and like. Gotcha. I tried to develop that in my writing too. Like everybody has a voice. Like it's like a real team.
Yep. I mean, you need that when you have a team in team composition. Everybody needs a distinct narrative voice to be able to convey who they are in order to have relationships between them, make you care. Yeah, I think I know a little something about that. Yeah. So what about now? What about these days? Are you reading anything on the stands?
I don't think I bought a mainstream comic. I bought the Immortal Hulk, like the first couple issues. I think I bought Frank Miller's last Dark Knight entry or whatever he did, but that's it. I haven't bought probably anything in 10 years, man. Like
I bought
Secret Invasion broke me.
Yeah, well, the major events break me. Like
that's what I'm saying. Event fatigue. Like after that, they went right into this thing where like the Red Skull's daughter was like turning everybody into like some kind of like Asgardian god or something. Like the Hulk was living in freaking Australia in the outback and was painted all weird. I'm just like, man, what the fuck is this?
Hey, man, you weren't on for the Venom event, which happened like 2 years ago now. Is it 2 years ago or 1 year ago? I don't remember. But like everyone became Venom. Everybody.
I kept tabs. It's like that X, man. You kept tabs, but like she doesn't want you anymore.
Right. So what do you read? Because I mean, I'm assuming in 10 years, if you haven't read a comic, you had to read something to prepare you to write the Mythicals, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I love a lot of the old the Vertigo line. You know, I got a lot of Constantine, like a Hellblazer. I love Grant Morrison's run on Animal Man. I just thought that was, I mean, amazing, because like when I discovered all that, like I was 10 years old when Image hit, so like I got that part of it, but then like when I started getting interested in storytelling, I started going back and the greats, you know, I went back and Chris Claremont and all that stuff, and just keep going back. Like I'm minored in history in college, so like I just like to go back and who, and especially with music, who inspired them, and you can trace it a little bit, and then maybe find your own voice.
Funny. I was just talking to Aldous about this because we were talking about like how we got into comics a couple days ago, and I started off with like 90s comics. Well, actually, I started off with like the Nom and G.I. Joe and stuff when I was in summer camp when I was like 7. But then when I like started reading comics and buying comics on my own because I thought they were cool, it was all the 90s stuff, Jim Lee, Silvestri, McFarlane, Willis, Potato, Pistachio. Yeah.
Pistachio.
Yes, Pistachio. I can't say names. but I read that, and then some of the later stuff like Helix Comics, Transmetro was big for me, and I like Ellis. But then I stopped reading. I went to college. I became interested in other stuff. I became interested in film, and I didn't even really go back and learn about the comic books that built the comic books that the 90s were based on. Like 80s and 90s comics I was a little familiar with, but 60s and 70s comics, Silver Age comics, I didn't know anything about them at all.
Right.
Until like way back around in the circle until like the last couple of years, actually, because I went through the whole Euro and then into that which shall not be named, or Mo Biggs will time me out.
JP wants to know, is that a Muppet Cartoon reference?
To what?
I don't know.
Maybe.
No, probably not.
Not conscious anyway.
But I don't know exactly what he said that made you think it was. I wasn't really paying attention to what he was saying.
She just doesn't. Yeah, she's paying attention to my thoughts.
True.
It's mutual.
Yeah.
Was it a circle thing?
I don't know. It's JP. JP's asking weird questions, and we might be behind the chat in a couple seconds. But yeah, so you learned about the older stuff. Did you ever look at comic books outside American comics?
Not really. I'm not a weeb.
No, not a weeb. No, not interested in any of the Belgian stuff or the
Milo Manera. Really, 2000 AD was about as far as I got.
Okay,
like they could really. I mean, they could tell a damn story.
Yeah, Judge Dredd.
It was just nuts. It was just nuts. The stuff they would do.
Yeah, man. Seriously, the 2000 AD stuff, heavy metal is really where it was at for me, because it gave me like sampling of like everything everywhere, and that was kind of my gateway drug to all of the different non-American comics. And I just started getting really interested in reading all of those because they were so different than like the superhero stuff that I grew up on, or the action hero, I should say.
Yeah. It was like in this forbidden room, like there was the heavy metal. I'm like, we're like 10 years old, and I'm like, there are boobs right there. So like we went in there, and like that's how I discovered Vertigo. That's how I discovered.
Yep. that's how you find
like the Alan Moore Swamp Thing, like all of it.
Yeah.
Mo Big says that's a relief after a recent stream I had to endure on this channel.
We're not talking about that stream. Never happened.
It didn't.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We have been remiss though. We have not said hello to anyone. So hello, Mo Biggs. Thank you so much for hanging out. It is officially a stream because you were here. We have Jelly Green. Hello. And a couple more people who are hiding out. And also Alex BRB. Thank you, Alex.
What's Alex have to say? You gonna read that whole thing?
So the Mythicals #1 by Hojo. When you discover reality isn't what it appears to be. Monsters, magic, and mayhem ensue. And there's the link.
I think he was back for #1, man.
I know he snagged another one. I wasn't able to watch live your launch, but I did catch the Bancroft. He and I were busy. But
I'm gonna interrupt you again and say hi, Phil, and hi, Raiden Radio.
I mean, yeah, you could say you said hi to Raiden Radio. What's up, Phil? Glad to have you with us.
Hold on, Phil.
I was gonna say I like what Alex had to say here.
Yes. Thank you so much for Alex for dropping our link. There's an easier one if you want it. It's just mavericks.com or mavericks.com/books. So
yeah, check out mavericks.com if you haven't. Spelt the same way the book is. We put some effort into it. I think it's pretty cool. People are going to tell me it's not, and I'm just a giant dork. But
I mean, you are a giant dork, but
whatever. So what about crowdfunded books? If you haven't been reading modern stuff and you've been reading some of the back issues, I'm sure you've backed some of the books that are in crowdfunding, Indiegogo, Kickstarter, in the indie scene, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I'm still waiting for a few. I'm waiting for, I guess, the most recent one would be Terror in the Trenches.
Yeah, man, that looks so good.
I still have Monster MD to read. I got the Lucent Company Men.
Awesome.
A couple of
choices
others,
all around.
I can't remember. Smokes the Fox. I got that one from Belmont. That was funny.
I don't think I read that one.
Wolfsbane from Aaron Johnson. Got that. Yeah, I've gotten quite a few, man. Got Inglorious Rex from Shane.
Any that you can recommend? Say they were good things people should check out.
Oh, Company Men off the top of my head. I mean,
yeah, Lee's book was good.
Yeah.
It's pretty dope.
It was one of Mo's favorites.
Yeah,
it's true.
He used one of my quotes or whatever. I'm like,
it's
all the stuff we wanted to say overseas.
Nice. Yeah, I saw that, and some other guy that he pissed off said it was just like high octane testosterone something or other, and he was like, "That's a perfect pull
What's
quote."
the problem?
You're right, like that's going on the book. Thank you very much. And then because it was some sort of like weird mainstream weirdo who like gets mad at indie comic creators, and I don't think it was Mark Brooks, but it was somebody like that. So it's funny because it's like a quote that's positive for Lee coming from this guy, which is actually kind of clout. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
right.
It's funny. I like that.
People are weird.
Just sent a message for what? Send Neff
don't worry.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what's going on.
Don't try and read.
Don't.
It's okay.
Yeah. So tell me about South River Studios. It's your company, right?
Right.
And I know you've got 13 issues of the Mythicals planned, but are there any other books that you're planning to release under this? Is this your imprint? What's it going to be?
Yeah, I actually already have one with Luke Stone. He's doing a public domain anthology. I did a 6-page like Korak, Son of Tarzan. It's like an updated, like an Old Man Logan type deal. And I have a short story that I'm gonna turn into a graphic novel eventually. It's kind of like weave in these projects, keep cranking out the Mythicals and keep things fresh.
So is the Mythicals the first book that you've put out, that you've written?
This is it.
So this is the big debut for South River. Yep. And then you've got some other stuff in the works that you're going to be putting out a little bit later. So what inspired you to get involved in indie comics, man? I mean, a guy of your background, your history, it doesn't really strike me as the type of thing that, anyone would just randomly want to go into. So what was it that convinced you to like jump in and get your feet wet?
So I used to always I guess I had the George McFly syndrome with writing. It's like, I'm afraid of confrontation. He's like, well, they say I wasn't any good. I don't think I could handle that type of rejection. Man, I've got kids. I'm married. And I was in the military for X amount of years. That shit don't matter anymore. I don't care about any of that. Just really the state of things, I guess. Like, I was kind of mad that you guys were doing this under my nose. I'm like, I thought I knew what was going on. I thought I was hip on things. But you guys are doing this whole time. Like, this is a second chance for me. Like, we came back from a deployment. We were going to do the Mythicals then. I don't think it was called the Mythicals. But Nancy Moon, all that was there, the bare bones of it. And CrossGen was out of business. And so put it on the shelf. Life happens. Years go by. You forget about things. And you always got that still checking comicbookmovie.com and all the other sites that have done gone downhill, and you're like, oh God, what are they doing? What are they doing? What they did to Captain America, you have sullied it. I will never forgive you, Mr.
See,
Coates.
here's the thing. I know, I agree. It's distasteful, disappointing, but all new, all different Marvel back in 2015, 2016 kind of killed it for me. I was done after that.
That was it.
Why are you doing? But bruh, that was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
8 years. Do you realize how long 8 years is? There are children that are 7 years old that weren't even born when Marvel messed this stuff up. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I've been like, all right, it's been what it is. We've had the MCU up till, phase 4, whatever. But I've been like, all right, fine, screw it up. It's more opportunity for us and more room for us on the playing field. The more Marvel and DC kind of just lose their way and fumble over themselves.
More people off every day.
Yeah, and that leads them right to us if we're welcoming and exciting and we're talking about cool comics. So I love doing that. I love being like, oh, you like the whatever comic it is. Maybe you like this thing, and you just kind of fill the void with whatever indie comic we can actually get excited and talk about. Yeah. But so that's why I asked you like anything that you can recommend, because people get excited talking about these indie comics and they're kind of taking the place of some of the old guard, classic comics we used to read that aren't, passing the mustard. Is that cutting the mustard?
No, that's something.
Passing the mustard is the Grey Poupon, right? Marvel Comics is not Grey Poupon. No, all right.
I was never really super into capes. So
yeah, well, you don't like capes that much at all.
Not so much.
No, but you're weird.
I am.
I don't have any.
Most people cut their teeth on capes, though.
Yeah, but I did not.
What about you? What's your favorite genre of comic book?
I don't know. Almost like I'm like an Elseworlds guy. Like I like an alternate that like as a I think this is what really got me interested in writing comic books. Like it was a what if issue. It was two of them actually. It was one where Wolverine. What if Wolverine were Lord of the Vampires during Inferno or something? It was this crazy story. Like Mister Sinister had to save him, and all this stuff. He was the good guy, and he then turned all the X-Men into vampires. It was crazy. And then there was another one where it was like Atlantis attacks and like Spider-Man. All these people were like lizard people. Like just outlandish, crazy shit. But it was an amazing story. I'm like, wow, that's cool. Just to, like, and I think like I've read bad books and watched bad movies. I'm like, all right, well, here's what I would do differently.
We play that game too.
Yeah.
I don't like this. This is what they should have done. But it irritates my wife to know. To, oh my god, I think it irritates her bad.
Neff loves to be like, fix this scene. No, fix
so
this
yeah, we try to do
okay.
the way we do it is we see a movie and it's got something that's just not working, that pissed us off, that kind of graded us the wrong way to where we're not like, oh, that was a good movie. So we play it in, fix the movie by changing as little as possible.
Right.
What tiny little tweak could you make to fix the film? Like, let's not blow $80 million on reshoots. What little things can we do to make the movie work? And if it has to be $80 million on reshoots, then so be it. I play the same game with Odin when we read comic books and we break them down and we analyze them to see what works and what doesn't work. And I'm like, all right, I'll always throw a page in front and be like, all right, fix it. How'd you fix it? And, we break it down. We talk about all the different components to the comic book page and, what we would do. It's a fun exercise, and it's really healthy for your development as a writer, as a creator, just to understand the medium. There's actually how Garrett learned comics.
Yeah.
He was lucky enough to have like a group of dudes that were older than him when he was like, a young kid, like teenager, 11, 12. That's not a teenager. Preteen, right?
A tween.
And he was hanging out with like college dudes because they all liked Warhammer 40K and his dad was a cool. I don't know why I'm telling you this weird ass anecdote. This is your show.
It's been a weird day. Sorry, we're a little all over the place.
I understand.
Let's say hello to the other people who showed up in chat. We got Pixel Trader with us. What is up, Pixel?
He pointed out the crop on the background image. If you look,
yeah, the boobies.
Sorry,
Pixel's got an interesting book coming up. Can't wait to see what's going on there. We got Edwin, the Ace Acevedo. We got Arvid from Crowfire Studios. Thank you so much for tuning in, my dude. Glad to have you here with us.
What's up, man?
Yes. He has a great show on Friday.
He does.
I'll be there this Friday.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, we'll definitely pop in and say hi.
That was the first live stream I ever did on camera.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Mobix says, Aunt Man, Aunt Ma'am.
No,
the possibilities.
Aunt Man, Aunt Ma'am. Two different
possibilities
words.
To make the IP more inclusive were endless, and they didn't even try. It's true, Mo. They didn't. Although the MODOK memes have been hilarious. So I'm very glad that there are some things that they don't do right, because I would not have a folder full of MODOK memes if they did do MODOK correctly. It's actually disappointing. Do you know what I mean? Like, part of me is happy that Marvel sucks. Part of me is happy that DC sucks, because I get to sit here and laugh at the dumb shit they do and then make comics that are better.
I know exactly what you mean. I'm like, I don't need to. I'm not gonna have a splash page where it's 20 word balloons about them talking about their Twitter.
Oh, God, right. Yeah, if you could merge the stupidity of some of the topics that are in these more recent writers' books with the overwriting style of Bendis, it would just be an essay about like why people think Twitter is a good way to support, emotionally support your heroes or something.
So yeah, that's why I'm glad I read mostly Image, because I don't have any of that.
Well, you read a lot of other stuff too, but the titles that you do, like the mainstream titles that you like, are like Image Boom.
Yeah.
I think we have one Dynamite on our list. I don't remember. Anyway, we have also got Hicks with us. Thank you so much for tuning in, Hicks. Pixel, yes, we will be talking soon. I can't wait. That book looks dope, dude. So tell us about how you assembled the team for the Mythicals. Who's on the book with you?
The penciler, his name is Thomas Tikas. He's a Greek guy. I found him, I've just scoured Twitter for months and months, weeks, collected all these names and different genres they might work with and stuff like that. Make like this collated list of, so if anybody needs something, like I can be like, oh, what kind of guy are you looking for? Boom, boom, boom. I couldn't use him, blah, blah, blah. So just found somebody that was where I could kind of capture that image dynamic, the some tight pencils, something like that. But I had a problem finding an inker that didn't want to work with it. So I found one, and he had actually worked with this guy before. So he's like,
cool.
"Oh yeah, I know that guy." I was like, "All right, well, cool." And then he assembled. He gave me a colorist. They're both from Brazil, and then we just kept rolling. So we're 24 pages completely inked, 23 or 22 colored, and 12 lettered.
Yeah, you're crushing it, man.
Yeah.
I had a question. 24 Eyes. Did you make your Mav? I don't know if you made his Mav pilot.
He did not.
Yeah, you got it.
Submitted it yet.
You have to do that.
You do.
Like, that's not optional. It is required.
Get in there.
We finally cleared up some of the stuff that's been holding back the last of the treats that are going out, and so time is ticking on that, buddy.
Get her done.
So yeah, so you got the colorist and the penciler. Who's doing the letters?
His name's Rick Joseph. I think he's done some work with Alterna. Kimasabi told me about him.
Right on.
So he threw me.
All right, Hojo, it is time. Are you ready to show us your cock?
Yeah.
All right,
cool. Hard, man.
All right, so we're going to talk about the Mythicals. Why don't you give me the pitch? What's the Mythicals about?
So it's a supernatural action mystery that centers around Level M, which is a top secret government task force that comprised of creatures from myth and legend.
All right, I mean that's a very succinct, nice, decent pitch that I think is interesting, and would drag anybody into the IP. With the just how well it's stated. What do you? I'm looking at boobs. What?
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask a question about the cover. This is Booty Juice, right? That did the
Dandal.
Yeah.
The cover. Yeah. Did he do the colors as well? Who's the colorist on this? Because I can
never remember his. I'll butcher his name, but I just know on Twitter it's Vegas Day Real. So if you want to look that up, that's it.
Well, you're gonna look that up.
He did his work on the silhouette. That's how I found him.
Nice. Yeah, it's
Phil's in the chat right now. I know that guy.
It's like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So, who were the protagonists in this supernatural action mystery of yours?
So that's Nancy Moon, like right there, the little chibi. We see the story through her eyes. She's like the vehicle to introduce everybody to this world, and she starts off. She wakes up. She has a job interview, and by the end of the issue, you find out that the monsters are real, and that she's been dragged into this whole world of magic and monsters.
And the world of magic and monsters, I'm certain then that the monsters are the antagonists. You got any particular antagonists that you can share with us? I mean, looking on the cover, there's also that dude with the sunglasses and the guns. How does he factor into this? Why don't we talk about what's going on this cover here?
Yeah, he's the field commander. He's like the first human field commander, actually. He's former special forces. So that's Lucas Beckett. He's that's the voice and the guy you'll see in the trailer. And then Daniel Montclair, he's the magician / techno mage. So he's like their little magical Q. He makes all their little gadgets and stuff. It does like the forensics and stuff like that, magical forensics, see what was going on.
And then behind him, you've got someone kind of looks like Tombstone, but gives off a Mobius kind of vibe, or Morbius kind of vibe.
Yeah, he's a vampire. Yeah.
So he's a vampire guy, right? Yeah. Who's that then?
Yeah. That's Julian. So he was born in like Herculaneum. So he saw Vesuvius erupt. So he used to be a patrician there. So he's got like a backstory. I got a backstory for everybody, and on the cards as well.
How about the cat?
He's got a backstory for the cat.
I want to know what's up with the cat.
That's
Cthulhu cat. About the cat. He's he's like the little mascot. He's the office pet. We're pet friendly here. We're very inclusive.
Is that a tree that he's in, or is he like psychically projecting the tree, or
no? It's a cat in a tree.
Hanging out? Oh, okay.
What's the cat's name?
Samuel.
Nice. I like it.
You just testing him?
No, I like cats. So I wanted to know if there was it just like random background, or like is it actually a cat? It's not a test. Interesting.
Phil says Eugene's been with us since Magic Cop,
Yeah,
and that's awesome. I said I'm adding it to the Rolodex. You guys keep finding awesome artists. I'll just keep stealing them.
Yeah. Oh man, I have a list.
We're bringing some new talent, new blood to the table too. So feel free to raid our pantry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're good neighbors. We're not just gonna use the same stuff over and over. A bunch of new artists with us. Very soon. Very excited with that. Can't tell you yet. Can't tell you until I have really cool stuff that I want to show you. That I can show you. Because there are pages that I can show you that I don't want to show you.
Soon.
So yeah, tell me about the antagonists. What are the monsters that they fight?
All kinds of them. See, I have a whole sandbox to play with. Like over 13 issues, I can go from American mythology, like cryptids, Native Americans, and bounce it right over to Greece. And go have like a bad sea monster fight or something like that, or go to the Himalayas and do something like that, or Africa. Probably not going to be messing around so much in China. Like I had to answer that in this. Like England and them had an agreement. They helped them with their dragon problem, but they don't speak anymore. So, but we can really world hop with all these antagonists. Like it's like I guess maybe they say Dresden Files or X Files. Like each issue is like a self-contained adventure that feeds into the broader narrative. Like Pirates of Dark Water, where they were searching for all these pieces, but they would visit all these different places. So we can world hop. But the primary antagonist right now is this guy that does he's on the Peter Gilmore cover.
Yeah, so tell us about the Peter Gilmore cover.
It's amazing. Look at that.
Yeah, it's the one that I used for the thumbnail.
Yeah, so that's the Inquisitor. So he's on Earth now, and the team's not aware of him yet. Almost like Jaws, you hear the music. Like eventually they'll become aware of him, but he knows it. He knows all about it. So they don't really meet in the first issue.
They don't really meet in the first issue, but the first issue sets the stage. 24 pages, right? Of the
it's all connected.
1 of 13, right? So what can you tell us about the first issue? Do you establish like a central conflict between the the central agency and the monsters?
Absolutely, the same thing. The first issue is what I call like you can look through the keyhole. You kind of know what's going on. You hear things and you see a little bit. But issue 2 is where it's going to kick the door down. But issue 1 ends with such a cliffhanger, and then a preview page. You're just gonna be like, "Fuck, man, I need to see what's going on," because there are more team. I can't introduce 6-7 people in 24 pages. It's just I can't do it.
Yeah, that's very tight.
Unless they just stand there.
Right. Unless there's like a very good scene where you can have people interact, for a particular reason at a location that isn't sitting around a kitchen table talking about food or going out to girls' lunch at, the Waldorf club and talking about their husbands.
Why are you looking at me like I do that or read that?
No, you don't read that. It's true. We were actually just talking. Was it today? Was it yesterday? Or
I don't
today?
know. All the days just kind of combine into one very long, never-ending day.
About one of the difficult distinctions between storytelling done for or by a female audience and something not for the female audience, and usually it involves food. That's the distinction.
I think it's what people think females want.
It's it's so weird.
Not at all what anyone or even the people that I know that consume media really enjoy that.
But it's like love triangles. It's another very common trope that's aimed at a female audience. Yeah. And I hate love triangles.
Ooh, shawarma.
So dumb.
I like shawarma.
I
like food. Don't get me wrong. I like food. I will eat food all day. I will talk about food. But food. I don't want to watch.
But you see, the funniest part of that scene, and I have to feel like he knew what he was doing, is when they were all sitting there eating shawarma, nobody said anything.
Yes.
It was completely dead air. And usually it's used as like they're sitting around the table eating and talking, and that's how you get exposition for the plot, and that's how you learn about the character. These guys are eating complete silence. I was like, well done. Well done. Okay.
Quite well.
Food plus boobs, says Crowfire Studios.
Food is good, says Phil. Food and boobs. I mean, you can't really go wrong with those two things, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had a little bit of a laugh using food in my comic.
You did.
Yeah,
You did indeed.
it was amusing. All right, so looking at the campaign right now, why don't you tell us about the perks that you've got on the page?
Right now, you can get either cover for just $13, or you can get both covers for $22, and you can add on a merch pack for $15, where you get a patch, a magnet, like a beer koozie, and then for $10 you can get the card package. Add on it's 2 trading cards by Eric Hodson and a metal card with that vampire character there, and his Roman battle gear.
What about the big box? The Ultra Mega Super Pack.
Gets everything, man.
He's legend.
Yeah, you get it all. I mean, the cards, the.
Sorry, I have to interrupt. Mobig says the Rob Bancroft
triangle
didn't pull in much viewership either. And Pixel says, "I've got boobs, guns, and throwing starfish. I don't think anyone but the villain is eating or drinking."
I think that's perfect though. Boobs, guns, and throwing starfish. That's so solid.
Can't wait to see it. Epic.
AR-13 orangutan. No, AR-13 mermaid with a license to kill.
Mermaid, right?
I've kind of watched the genesis of that character.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, it's very clever. So I really enjoyed the pun, and it actually looks like it would be a fun book too.
Yeah,
which is kind of like that's perfect. Yeah. It's a parody, a little bit of a mockery parody, but also like looks like an awesome book. And if you weren't interested in the little bit of commentary that they're throwing in there, it would just be a fun book to read.
It's true. So tell me about this box. Sorry, now that I.
Right. What do you say, Pixel? He says we don't say Ariel. That's a no. You don't want to get the mouse after you.
No, you do not. Right. We've had it happen.
They
suspended our live stream while we were live streaming.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it was fantastic. It's like the Disney Nazis.
It was one of the karaoke ones.
The kill stream.
Yep. He took us out. So what do we get? What's in the box?
Yeah, tell us about the box. I think he said it's everything, right?
Yeah, you get everything. I mean, I forgot to mention the $13 comic also you get the free chibi sticker. So.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that comes.
I love 6 a.m.'s chibis.
Yeah. So you get the magnet, the cards, the metal card, both covers, the patch, the koozie, and then that Dean James glow in the dark bookmark.
And the original art for that's already sold out, I assume. Right? Like I think I saw it as a tier, and it's all grayed out.
It hasn't even been finished yet. Nobody knew it.
Right, and it hasn't even been finished, and somebody already snagged it. Yeah, I bet you that was Ape. I bet you it was Ape. I'm gonna go yell at him.
I don't think it was, but we'll see.
All right.
Actually, no, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Good. Well, good. If it wasn't Ape, good.
No, it wasn't.
At least I didn't lose out to.
Yeah, dude, he wins everything now.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's Ape.
No, that's why he's arrogant, because he wins all the time. Exactly. Right? See? What was the line? He has sex without losing his virginity because he never loses. I remember. It was a great line, though.
He went down a YouTube route.
I don't remember seeing him that night, so there's a lot of people in there.
Yeah, it was. It was a good stream. Speaking of that stream, launching on Bancroft, you were able to pull in 29 backers and left with about 1.6K. And then later that day, you pulled in another 560 from 17 more backers to fulfill to fund within like the first 13, 17 hours. I was asleep. So when I woke up and I looked at it, it had been like, it hadn't been 24 hours yet. It'd been like, not even a full 12, maybe. I'm not sure. But Sunday you brought in 772 with 21 backers. So almost as many as you picked up just being on Bancroft. And today you've already picked up 6 more, and you're sitting comfortably at $3,171, which is 126% of your funding goal, with 63 backers currently, holding for you. How do you feel about that kind of momentum, man?
It's pretty good if I can sustain it, man. As long as people keep having me, I could be fun on streams, man. Not like some people just get out there and they're like they don't know what to talk about, like. Shit, man, I can sit and bullshit about anything. It doesn't matter. I mean,
any other appearances that you got like scheduled? Who have you been hanging out with so far?
I was on. High Desert Comics this morning with Mike T and Frog G on that. I think it's
They do it
Monday.
so early.
Yeah.
They do it too
Oh
early.
god, I got
it
up at like 2:45 this morning my time.
Oof.
And
no.
It's Michael T's fault.
Yeah, I did Sugar Chris earlier.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Did he tell you the red dress story, or is he trying to like keep that under wraps?
Sim told me the red dress story.
Okay, good. We can't ever let him keep that down.
Yeah, the internet's forever, bro.
Yep, it is. It is my my secret prints are forever too.
Yes.
Yeah. We got Ollie with us. What's up, Ollie?
How you doing?
Glad to have you. Glad to have you. So, with the perks, the all in the box super ultra mega tier, that's a very nice price for all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Tell me about the box. Like, who designed it?
I mean, I designed it, but that right there, that's Don Edwards. That's his. He did a piece for me.
It's very cool. I like it.
I gave him a concept of her like blowing a dandelion and like on half of a dead landscape and then coming to life after she blows the dandelion.
That is cool. I like how she's like got the half and half power. You know.
Yep.
That's very cool. Very cool. So,
look at all the sunsets on your covers too.
Well, they create that orange and yellow glow, which makes I'm a sucker for those colors.
It's
orange, yellow, red.
Yeah. I agree with like the little purple, pink.
Yep. I mean, that particular color palette will win me over almost every time. The art doesn't even have to be good. I'm like, oh, pretty colors.
It's true. We were at the comic book shop over the weekend. He was going through boxes because they were having a sale, and he pulls this out. He's like, "Oh, look at this!" I'm like,
"It's pretty."
I thought he was making fun of it. I'm like, "What do you think?" Like, it's terrible. He's like, "What?"
I'm like, look how pretty it is.
Are you looking at the same thing as I am? He's like, "Oh, but look at all the colors." I'm like, "No, you didn't say what I think of the colors. You said, what did I think of this cover?" I'm like, and then I start pointing out like all the janky proportions and all that. He's like, "Oh, why you gotta ruin everything? I just like the colors."
You're like someone pointing out like Liefeld proportions.
Yeah,
it's a cool page, man. No, it's awful. You're like Garrett. You're a killjoy.
It's like you're underneath his pecs. It's an umbrella, for God's sake.
But it's it keeps you dry, right? There's good things about it. So the campaign says that fulfillment will begin immediately after it is closed. Does that mean when the campaign is up, the 60-day period, or when it's out of in demand?
If I'm lucky enough to go in demand, as soon as it's done, we're out.
Dude, you're already going in demand. You funded.
Okay, well, we'll see.
If you're funded, you just click the little go in demand yes button and you're going.
Oh, I don't know if I clicked that.
Well, you don't have to click it now. You can click it later.
As long as you do it before.
You're already in your first. You're still only in your first 30 days. I don't know if anyone explained extending to you.
Yeah. Belmont did.
Yeah, then you can just click the in demand button too if you want to go in demand. But as soon as the campaign is over, you're going to start fulfilling because, that's really, really quick turnaround. Like, book's not quite done yet. Did you already set up a deal with a printer?
I'm talking to some right now, actually.
Nice, good. So you'll have all of that sorted out within the 29 first days.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I try to have that estimate at like June.
Right.
So
that was good. I mean, 24-page color book isn't that bad. It's pretty good, honestly. And I appreciate what you did with shipping, trying to just get it down a little bit for those of us who back a crap ton of books and always getting kind of put over a barrel on the shipping.
Frog G wants to know who else would have an ultra mega super pack.
I don't know. So certainly not BillyWitchDoctor.com on convenient locations.
Super ultra mega chicken
in Africa.
No, it's legends. Yes, you are my people, Alex.
Alex knows. So, have you been marketing primarily through like YouTube and Twitter and the podcasts and the indie comics community, or have you started looking at alternate ways to maybe get the word out to people?
I have. I'm looking at a few like horror promotions, like where they have a tier where they'll set up and do stuff for you, and that's like a niche market within itself. Like the horror people, like they're fanatics. So I've been trying to court them and stuff like that too.
Yeah. But I mean, like outside of comics too. Like imagine for a minute.
Oh, bro.
That there were people who've never read comics.
Comic shops. Oh. People who've never read comics.
Yeah, imagine people who've never read comic books before. but they could read your book, right? Like if you put it in their hands, they'd be like, "This is the coolest thing ever. What's this?
Right.
Oh, it's the Mythicals. It's a horror comic. Oh man, now I suddenly like comic books because it's so cool." Like, who's the book for? You know, do you have a target audience?
I would say it's more like the lowest I would go is like preteen, but you know, it has adult themes. Like you have a few curse words, like it's not graphic violence or anything like that. So just, I would say like comics go to prude, maybe pushing it. You know,
Right. So not just the age bracket, because you know this ain't manga, right? When we're
right,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah,
Did you not
yeah,
say
yeah.
the
we're like I heard Blake Worrell from the Splintering because I checked out his article. He said it was like the best parts of Buffy and the X-Files or
Yeah,
something. Like,
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I was on that. Yeah,
so that's what
because
I mean. Like,
I
who
cut out
would
the
you market this
melodrama.
towards? Melodrama. Okay, that's good.
I cut that shit out. Like you remember, I remember like Buffy and Angel. Those were the two shows. Like
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
preferred Angel because I didn't want all that bullshit. I
So
wanted
like
the
there's no
fighting.
like romance and
Yeah.
like friends fighting.
Right. There's no touchy-feely
Stuff.
garbage. It's
Just
find
all
the monsters,
monsters
kill the
all the
monsters.
time.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's
not
dope.
all the time.
I liked the Angel episode where Spike came back and laughed at him because Angel was a
A
puppet.
puppet.
That was
And so a Muppet,
You guys know
really.
the puppet episode? Oh my
Oh,
god!
yeah.
Yes.
Smile
Oh
time!
yeah, it's the
Smile
best
time!
one.
Smile
it was
time!
the best. It was
Oh,
the best.
I
He's a
used to
bloody
have that
puppet.
little puppet.
You
It's
had
like,
a puppet?
Oh my god!
look at your little hair.
That was the
Yeah.
best, man. That was
That's-
back
that's
when
a good
when
episode.
we were kids, dude.
Not
Like
kids.
we were
We weren't
kids.
kids.
Yeah, well, okay, we were kiddish. I don't know.
Ah.
But yeah, like so. If you got like the monster community, right? Like there were a lot of girls in college that loved Buffy, right?
Yep.
And if I had a comic book, I would definitely have gone to like, I don't know, the Rocky Horror Picture Show because I lived in New York at the time and gone down there and been like, yo, check out my Mythicals comic and like
Yeah,
slap
there's an
the
all girls
flyer.
college near me in my hometown, and I'm going.
So what I think you
put
should
flyers
do
in.
is probably go in and maybe
yeah.
staple up a couple
With
of
a QR
flyers or
code.
something because
Make sure
I
it's
already
QR
have
code.
one in the works.
okay, perfect. Because one of the
Yeah.
best ways to like blow up your campaign is to get outside of comics entirely. Is to go to find markets where the people just don't read comics. It's not connected to comics at all. It's people who
Right.
are be interested in the comic. Like with Mavericks, we went into the Gunpla community.
Armin.
They build the
Good to see you.
Gundams, right?
Right.
And
right.
we went in there and people were like, holy crap, you have a mecha comic book? Because
Yeah.
they're not comic book fans. They're not connected to the comic book community. But as soon as you go, hey, yeah, we've got a mecha thing, they want it because they're mecha fans, you know? So
Yeah.
like if you have the horror fans, but they're not in comics, it's definitely a good way to help pump the numbers.
Yeah, I'm
You just
going to
gotta
like
be
these
creative.
those Halloween stores and stuff that sell the costumes and stuff like that.
Yes, Halloween
Yeah.
Adventure and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
leave that leave a flyer around there. You know, definitely for like the X-Files stuff, you could like, I don't know, where would you like, I guess you could go and find those like creepy pasta sites on the internet.
Yeah.
And like people who do the podcasts, like what's that one about the they're transcribing the tapes. Is it's not the lost tapes, something like that?
Yeah.
They're transcribing these
like
old records about like the elder gods and everything.
Yeah,
I think it is the lost tapes.
Maybe.
But like you could sponsor an episode. You know, I'm not saying you necessarily have the money for that or if they're asking for money, but like brought to you by the Mythicals, and they drop the information and then suddenly you've made more money just getting people coming to you from there than
Right.
cost to like get your name out there. And let's be realistic here. The first book isn't about making the money. The first book's about cultivating the audience, right?
Yes.
So spending a little bit of extra ching just to get more people interested, that's the best way to grow your audience, your platform, and all of that is to go get people that aren't in your immediate vicinity. Hey, I knew if we started talking about marketing outside of comics, we would get this man right here in the chat. What is up, Armin? Oh man, Armin is the shit. I don't know.
I love that guy, man.
Yeah, he's great. Man has been.
We also have gifted rebels in the house.
Hey, we got Adam Lawson. What is up, Adam? Dude,
and Juanito, and you said hi to Ollie before.
Finding like just the sliverest of time to hop in and say hi. Appreciate it, man. Adam has been crazy busy doing like his schedule is crazy right now, running around internationally shooting commercials.
Wow.
So thank you so much for he's international man of mystery. Thank you so much for tuning in, brother. Glad to have you.
Little Mermaid podcast. That's a good idea.
Oh, that's a good one.
And also, like any Second Amendment podcast would probably
pretty much
also be up your alley.
Just about. When we try and when are you launching, Pixel?
Neff's gears are going now. He's like, wait a minute. He was just about
we just made a thing. Yeah. We'll talk later. We're glad to have you guys with us. I know I'm scatterbrained. It's been a day. You can see I'm not even wearing my normal like graphic tee. I'm wearing respectable clothing because we had to do stuff.
He's respectable.
I'm not respectable. Alex pointing out the Guazine. Guys, don't forget about that Guazine. Mm-hmm. So, what are some of the hurdles that you've had to overcome learning your way around a comic book? Making comics, just in general.
Well, I definitely should have started off with having proper character sheets, designs, and stuff like that. So instead of having to like stumble my way through it and change it with each iteration or something, and then like, all right, well this is what we're gonna settle on, and then if you change artists, they're like, well, where are the character sheets? Like, oh, here's my comic book. I don't really have those, so we're gonna go back and do that after this and do it proper and stuff like that and get it squared away. And I think that's. And me is like getting out in the community, like that was the hardest part. Like people not knowing who you are. They're like, I don't talk to this guy. I'm not gonna buy this fucking book. This guy's just coming to get money and then leaving. So, but like I'm here to stay. Like I like hanging out with everybody. It's not really about my book all the time. So I like comics. I like all these people. I never had people like that to talk to when I was growing up. I didn't have any friends that were into comics at all.
Now, we talked about the hurdles, right?
Yes.
What's your process like when you script a book? I'm imagining you do have to write a script, right?
Once or twice, yeah. So what I'll do
is
a
couple of different,
I got
revisions.
words. I got words.
She's on a paper somewhere, kind of.
So, I mean, what I'll do is like with an issue that I want X amount to happen, like your normal ABC script, right? But I'll write bullet points. I want this to happen, and as I'm going through, I'll think of a clever line, like, "Ooh, this happens." You see, like my initial outline is all these circles, and then an arrow drawn around to somewhere, and then like a star. It's hard to read, but then I can decipher it. But then I'll get back to it, and I'll be like, and then I'll just write bullets, and then I'll start refining it, and then I'll be like, all right, I'll start thinking about page turns, and then scene transition, pacing and stuff like that. Then I'll chop it up, and I give it to Piper, and she comes back like, "Oh, this sucks." But I mean, I let her rip it up, and then we'll come to an agreement on some things. Like, you just get an editor, you have to have give and take. You can't be rigid, or they're not going to want to work with you.
True.
I mean, if you don't want an editor, don't hire one.
Hire one because everyone needs an editor.
Saying. Like if you don't want an editor, like that's going to tear your stuff apart and try to make you better. If you don't want that, if you can't handle that, if you can't handle the criticism,
if it's your first time, guys, like, no one's perfect out the gate, not even me. And I'm pretty damn close.
I'm like he never.
But still, like, just hire an editor a developmental editor that can help you bring the story into the scripting phase. Hire a line editor that can help you work the dialogue and structure the scenes correctly. Hire what are they called? Like the layout designers. It's actually like an editor that brings in a person that just draws the roughs.
Oh well. So that's not an editor. Right? So you can hire just someone to do your layouts.
Right.
But so who does the art direction? Do you do that? Does Piper do that? Do you have another separate editor?
Well, Piper and I kind of collaborated on that. Like if I have a specific, because I'm pretty visual. Like I'll come up with a specific scene or like how I want something to look, and I'll go thumbnail it and I'll go through and give it to him, and then he makes it more better. And then she'll go through and be like, all right, well, this doesn't work. The eye's not being drawn the right way. And, like, remember there was one page when him and her kind of clashed, and I just came in and I was like, look, explain to her what you're trying to make it do, and then you explain to him why that's wrong. Because I was like, man, I don't have time for this today. And they hashed it out, and it ended up being great. So, but
Pixel says, "I look at it and tell them the gun is in the wrong hand."
Yeah, there should be one in both, right? Like,
this way, you never have to remember. You just one for each hand. That's awesome that you work really well with Piper. It sounds like you have a good flow going down.
Yeah, I remember hearing from some of the people that the graded 0.5 that she worked with them on Peregrine, and that's kind of like where I recall Piper cutting her teeth like big time as an editor. I don't remember. I know she's been on the show before, especially for Rift Writers. I don't remember asking her what she did before that, but
Mo says Arrow has 4 gun hands to worry about. That's a lot of guns. Gotta make sure you got one for each.
Definitely. So, what advice would you give creators looking to start crowdfunding their comics?
Do your research first.
Yes.
Don't learn as you go. Don't get in there like, I got this product, and everybody is like, you get 3 likes. They're like, why isn't anybody supporting it? Because they don't know who you are, and you got to get in and start making relationships and network. And I mean, unless you're like this badass artist that everybody's just gonna drop and look at it. Nobody's going to. I mean, you just got to put in the work. That's all I got to say. Just put in the work. Talk to people. Do your research. Get a good idea. Get it hammered out. Don't try to run on the treadmill before you can stand.
Right. Yeah, it's a good way to go flying back.
Yeah.
I've seen those videos, man. They're hilarious. They're great.
Mo said Arrow has 4 gun hands to worry about, and Frog G says, I disagree, Mo. Arrow has 4 guns for everyone else to worry about.
Are we ever going to do a
Arrow only makes bullet points.
Are we ever going to see a Baby Seal, Navy Seal, Frog G crossover? I mean, I'm waiting for Bascom to get the book out to everyone so I can get the read, but I would really still like to see
some kind of crossover
a Baby Seal, Navy Seal, Frog G team up, to go take out some terrorist cell and free ARO and the boys. Yeah. That'd be cool.
Could be.
Yep. All right. So when you were doing this campaign, you mentioned doing the research, getting into crowdfunding. What kind of research did you do to prepare yourself?
All right, Mo Biggs, sit down. Rob Arnold, really?
Oh no!
They're giving me shit for giving Rob credit, man. Like his Google Docs, and then he did a YouTube series.
Yeah. Like he did a YouTube series? I didn't know he did a YouTube series.
I
didn't know about the Google Doc until after we launched.
Yeah. It's right there.
We did our own research.
Yeah. So took a little bit from that, studied some campaigns, really studied campaigns.
That's your response.
To see, I was like, what works, what doesn't.
You get 3 dots.
Yeah. Well, he says not Rob Arnold.
So really, just I guess the wisdom gained from trial and error in several years watching other people's campaigns. Brother, no, Neff, please delete this stream for Hojo.
There it is. Oh no, Alex just kick Hojo.
Well, we're coming up on
look at that.
We're coming up on the hour. Don't worry.
Get yours before we got ours.
I had it specifically shipped to me just for launch night.
Mug.
Oh,
you got it just for
that's launch. Fantastic. Right. Wow.
Yeah, but he wasn't
I'm
there.
Jealous.
He wasn't there.
Just made it. Bureau's gay. True, Aaron. True words, man. For real. Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with us.
You got here in time to
let everybody know. Yeah, yes. Bureau's gay.
Just in case.
Yeah. We got Hex with us too. What's up, Hex? Glad to have you.
Hex, how are you?
Glad to have you with us, man. Thank you so much for tuning in. So do you want to let anybody else know anything about like your comic or your company or where to find you or say anything, scream into the ether and let people know?
Well, you can find me on Twitter. It's not that hard to find me. Hojo, HW Desper. We got a fantastic story, great art for $13 and you get a free sticker. It's changing the game, man.
Yeah,
it is.
Free stickers,
especially if you're a team sticker.
Yeah,
yeah. I gotta say, I appreciate that. I know you got the Dean James glow in the dark bookmark, and it's like this big centerpiece for you. But the free sticker, that's
true. If you back the box, you could
get it all.
Fulfill your needs for both team sticker and team bookmark.
Yeah.
So,
Could be,
I mean, if you were on the fence.
The Sweden box.
Yes,
Right.
the Ultra Mega Super Pack is legend.
Every time.
Every single time.
Mm.
Because I am 5.
You are.
It's true.
You're 5 and watch too much
That is
Aqua
also
Teen.
true. Yes.
So this is the part where I say, like, if anything else to say, where Brandon Diaz starts lecturing everyone on seed oils and Jeremy goes into fractals. Is there anything you want to say? Open floor. Last 5 minutes.
I'm here to stay. Book 2 is going to be way better than book 1. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to fulfill right on time. It's not amateur hour.
Right, you're gonna fulfill on time. You're gonna keep the momentum going.
Yep.
What kind of release schedule you're looking at between books 1 and 2?
Well, if I hit if we get to the stretch goal, like maybe 5K or possibly above, I'm gonna go pretty much immediately into production for
Into drawing the next one.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, because we're already starting to talk about the new characters and what I want them to look like.
How many scripts you got socked away?
6.
There it is.
Socks and beers. I said socks.
Fat socks.
You thought of B-Rose's baby sock when he...
You said socks.
Oh, man, no. That's not okay. Now you got me thinking of the Baldo.
I blame Aerith because he brought B-Rose up.
And
so I will divert
blame
over
Mo
there.
because every time someone mentions B-Rose, Mo brings up
And
the
Mo says
Baldo.
1 box to fulfill everyone's needs.
Right.
Except
Hopefully.
for B-Rose.
This
There's
box
no chicken
will
in the
fulfill
box.
every need.
Right.
Except for chicken and socks.
Right. 34-inch
34-inch
baby
baby
sock.
I can make it smell like chicken if you want.
I think I'm good. I don't need my box to. Okay, I'm just not.
That's a good finish that sentence. You can
No, I
finish that
think I'm
sentence?
good.
Yeah,
I think
okay,
that's
good.
yeah. We're done.
We're just gonna leave it there then. All right. So that's gonna be it for us tonight, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out, tuning in, and hanging out with us. Really do appreciate it. If you liked the content, please click the thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe to the channel, it'll be much appreciated. You can click the bell to find out when we go live next.
And tune into the frequency.
We'll see you next time.